As a songwriter, you're always writing something that could be covered. I was signed to Zomba for 7 years, and you were always encouraged to write for artists on their roster or anybody they had a connection with. And I guess over my career I've had about 15 or 20 covers, no major hits. They've all made up something. Some have paid the mortgage for a bit and others haven't. But you've just got to keep working at it, honing your skills and understanding the difference between writing for yourself, or writing as an artist, or pitching a song for a particular artist, or you know, spotting an up-and-comer. So I'm just going to sort of talk about how I approach it. If you're a songwriter, you want to be able to write some songs for some artists. The famous artists have normally got loads of gatekeepers around them, so if you wanted to pitch a song to Rod Stewart or one of the more modern artists, you've got to get through their gatekeepers before you even get through to the artist, and then they're surrounded by a team of writers, so it's like, okay, it can be done. Sometimes, say, if I'm pitching to an artist that's not as big as Rod Stewart, I'll maybe go onto their website, try and contact them that way, see if they're interested in, you know, co-writing or something like that. So you try and build up some kind of contact. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But the other thing that a songwriter can do is you look for an artist that's on the way up, someone that hasn't got all the gatekeepers, someone who's just on the cusp of making it, and if you can get your songs in with those artists, then you've got a chance of, if they do hit big, then you're sort of on the back of their coattails. Now, I was looking at James Oliver. I don't know if any of you have seen James Oliver. He's a fantastic rock and roll guitarist. He's recorded a couple of great albums that he does up in a studio in Blackwood. They sound great. He plays more gigs than anyone I know. And when he's doing his little films on reviewing Fenders and stuff like that, he had over 100,000 views on one of his films, and all of a sudden Fender go, who's this guy talking about our stuff? And then Fender get in touch with him. He's always putting stuff out, and he's always working hard on his career. So you think, okay, maybe that's a guy that I should get in contact with and see if we can do some co-writes, which is what I did. But if you're co-writing or writing specifically for someone, you've got to get to know them and see the sort of material that they're working on, or the kind of stuff that they want to sing. And when I did finally meet him, you've kind of got to get to know each other in the studio, see the sort of style of the way he wants to record and things like that. And getting to know him, he said that he loved Rockpile, he loves Dave Edmunds, loves Mark Knopfler. So I was looking at that sort of kind of material and see if I could come up with something slightly more radio friendly than the stuff he's doing now, although he's had plays on radio too, so you can't beat that. So I set about sort of like looking at a chord sequence that's something like Rockpile, a little bit more commercial than the stuff he's doing, and see if we can come up with something like that. So I played in the chords. It's just, fairly simple stuff, but it's got a few more chords in than James is doing at the moment. He checked out some of the chords, changed a few things here and there, and then we set about doing a lyric. I'd had an idea of it's a long way to go, it's a long way to go. I couldn't think of anything else. So down to Mexico. Yeah, I think, well, James going down to Mexico. I just got stuck on it because of the rhyming, long way to go in Mexico. I was thinking of J.J. Cale and all those things. Is totally the wrong thing. So I normally sort of co-write with Helen, my partner, and she kind of pointed out, well, why would James be why would he be in Mexico? Well, he wouldn't, would he? So we came up with it's a long way to go. Sorry, it's a long way to go. It's a long way to go. got a gig down south, could be bloody Chichester, you know. So Chichester, well, going down to Chichester, you're going to hit some roads. There's always going to be cones and stuff and road work. So got a long way to go. Got a long way to go. I got a gig down south, but I'm caught in a country flow. I got a long way to go. I got a long way to go. Okay, so I've got to kind of get the Fender connection in, because if you're thinking about a commercial song, you think, okay, if you're mentioning a product in it, you know, would they be interested at, you know, at some stage of putting some money in, or, you know, could they use the song on their advertising? So you're always thinking of different angles. So okay, so what are we going to do? Okay, so got my Fender in the boot. Well, I'm going to have to go for an Americanism. Got my Fender in the trunk and I'm going to play my rock and roll. Okay, so that's kind of a chorus sorted out. He's in Britain, he's always gigging, he's caught in the contraflow, but he's got his Fender in the trunk, or Fender in the boot, and he's going to play his rock and roll. Okay, so that's the kind of chorus we're thinking, okay, that's going to be alright. But then, with these rock and roll songs, if you go back to people like Bo Diddley, they're always name-checking themselves, like, yeah, Bo Diddley, and, you know, with Chuck Berry and other rock and roll artists, you know, their main guy in the song was always, you know, learned to play guitar, became a star and all that kind of stuff. And they're always from somewhere. And it's always great with the Americans, because, like, you know, it's always cool to say we came from Memphis or Lubbock or, you know, Texas and all that stuff. James from Blackwood. Okay, well, let's celebrate Blackwood. You know, that's where he's from. It's from the South Wales Valleys. So it's like, so you got to think of something. I'm just a boy out of Blackwood who learned to play guitar. Okay, so there's the kind of, you know, just a boy out of Blackwood, listening to those vinyl records bought by my ma and pa. Okay, well, he's always playing vinyl records. You look at his YouTube channel, he's always picking his vinyl records, so that makes sense. Bought by his ma and pa. Okay, I could have said bought by his mam and pa. You know, that doesn't quite work, so you've got to accept a little bit of Americanisms. It's just a boy, I'm just a boy out of Blackwood who learned to play guitar, listening to my vinyl records bought by my ma and pa. And then it's like he's always learning licks, learning all those lead licks from the masters of the USA, or masters from the USA. You know, it's like Johnny B. Good, I'm telling you, you know. I'm James B. Good from Blackwood, I'm gonna have my rock and roll say. So that's a kind of, you know, you're trying to really write the lyric for James, and James is only going to sing stuff that he wants to, and he's going to add stuff and phrases, you know, that's part of songwriting, and he's never going to sing anything that he doesn't want to, so, you know, you can't put any old crap lyric past him. So then we've got another verse to follow. So we just thought, okay, he's on the road all the time, so he's got no time for women and stuff like that, although he said, oh, how do you know, Dan? But it's like, I'm just sort of like looking at him in general. He's always on the road, he's always driving around, gigging all the time. So it's, got no time for ladies, my guitar is my girl. Now I want to bring in the Fender again. My Fender telly and my Fender amps are my passport to the world. Got no time for money, it's music that's in my soul. Like Jerry Lee and Chuck Berry. Okay, it's a bit of a stretch with Jerry Lee and Chuck Berry. You got to stretch it out. Jerry Lee and Chuck Berry, I'm gonna play my rock and roll. And so that's it. I think that's you have to really get to know your artist. You have to hone the lyrics, see where all the lyrics are going. It's got to be about, you know, in this case, it's got to be about James. It's got to be about his environment. You've got to bring the Fenders into it. You've got to mention his rock and roll heroes, and you frame it around something that maybe Rockpile would have done. And that's it. And then, you know, you record the demo, you see if the artist likes it, then you start to build the production on it to make it sound slightly different to the stuff that they're doing, and always trying to think, you know, one step ahead. Anyway, that's kind of writing to a brief and writing for a particular artist.